you.
Thank you.
So it's really an amazing experience to see our spaceship that will carry us to the space station. It's a totally different feeling, thinking from how we've always trained in the simulators, and now it looks the same when we're in there, but this is the real thing. So it's very exciting.
It will be
a big moment.
Very important moment for all of us. For me especially, I will be seeing this first time, and I'm here now. I'm excited, and thanks for everyone for the support and for making this happening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's a special feeling when you're inside your own real vehicle. It's not a mock-up. new equipment, even special smell, like new. It's different.
Like that new car smell.
It's a bit different, but it's similar. Yes, something specific. When you're sitting in.
Okay, thank you very much.
The first computer of our Cosmodrome and in the Soviet Union. May I take it from this angle? Just a moment, pictures first. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. This way, please. This is the house where Yuri Gagarin spent his last night before his historic flight.
Mark Geyer, director of the Johnson Space Center. Mark, on Gagarin's pad once again for an historic launch and the start of an amazing pace of activity aboard the International Space Station. From a crew and mission control standpoint, how would you categorize the level of activity that's about to unfold over the next 6 months?
We have a lot of exciting things happening because, first of all, we're launching this crew that now has a new participant to space station. The United Arab Emirates is sending an astronaut to the ISS, so joining the list of people that have flown to ISS, so that's a big deal. And of course, then we have a lot of maintenance happening. Those battery EVAs will be right on the heels of the HTV berthing to space station, and then working, of course, on the AMS, and all getting ready for commercial crew to arrive, probably, hopefully within the next 6 months or so. So, a lot going on.
The road to the moon, 2024 is the target. How are things shaping up, and how does the Johnson Space Center prepare for multiple programs at the same time?
Yeah, it's really an unprecedented time. We have not just the space station work, which is pretty intense as always, as we just talked about, but also getting ready to send people back to the moon, and Orion will be the first step of that. And our plan, of course, is to launch late 20 or early 21, and the spacecraft is in preparations to do that, going through its final testing. So the team is ready to do it. We've lined up all the work. We're making sure all the testing is completed and that we have the work done. And then on top of that, of course, we're creating the new programs, the Gateway, where Orion will be going, and then the lander will be aggregating before we go back to the surface, and all this is happening at the same time.
Now, great deal of experience and historical expertise involved here, of course, but putting all these pieces to the puzzle together, is it a daunting task, or is it something that we're very familiar and comfortable with?
You know, it is a lot of work and a lot of complications with the different partnerships, both international and commercial. But I think Space Station is a great example that we have tackled that kind of challenge before and tackled things we did not expect, and continuing to add things and continuing to learn new ways to do business and bring different partnerships in. So I think it's within the capability, certainly, that Johnson Space Center and NASA has.
Kirk Shireman, International Space Station Program Manager. Kirk, another historic moment back on Gagarin's launch pad. But this launch kicks off an almost breathless pace of activity for the crew on board the station. How do you, as a program manager, integrate all of these pieces to the puzzle to make sure that spacewalks, visiting vehicles, science, all of that unfolds correctly?
Sure. Well, it clearly is a very busy time. We're looking forward to first an HTV launch tomorrow, and then the Soyuz the day after. A really, really busy time on orbit. We have a great plan, a great team that comes up with this plan. But also the beautiful thing is that the plan's flexible. So if something changes a little bit, we can modify our plan associated with that change. So a great team, great plan, and we're ready to be flexible if the situation changes.
The partnership, working in lockstep with each other at this point, we always talk about the remarkable intertwining of all of these agencies and all of the international engineering teams. How impressed are you at this point in time in the life of the program by how efficient everything has become?
It really is great. The communication amongst the entire partnership is really strong. The cooperation, very, very strong. We're excited about this launch. We're going to have the United Arab Emirates as a visiting astronaut on this flight. So not only is the partnership strong, we're looking to expand our relationship with other countries. So it really is a great time. I think you'll see that here, even with the crew that we have on orbit and the fact that we have a Japanese vehicle, a Russian vehicle, all coming up within a few days of one another.
Next year marks the 20th anniversary of a permanent human occupancy on the station. You've been with this program from the get-go in one way, shape, or form. Could you have ever imagined that 2 decades could have passed with a whole generation never knowing anything but humans in space?
It really is amazing. You know, it's one day at a time. You get focused on what's this day, what's the next day, and before you know it, 20 years have gone by. So in 1998, November 20th, 1998, we stood just a few miles from this very spot and watched the first element of the ISS go up. And in late October of 2000, we watched the very first crew go up. So it really has been an amazing run. I think the ISS is in great shape and as productive as it has ever been. And it'll be great to see this crew go up there and continue that long tradition.
Joel Montalbano, Deputy ISS Program Manager here in Baikonur. Joel, Soyuz behind you next day or so, launching to the space station, increasing the size of the station, but kicking off a pace of activity that is unprecedented in station history. How will you and the program management team handle the juxtaposition of science and visiting vehicles and spacewalks and all the pieces that have to fit this puzzle?
Well, Rob, you use the word puzzle, and I'll tell you it's an incredible puzzle that we work together to fit all the pieces so we can optimize the utilization, the research we do on board the International Space Station, as well as the science and the exploration activities that we need to go further. You know, in addition to the Soyuz, we have a Japanese cargo vehicle preparing for launch. They'll be bringing upgraded batteries to the International Space Station. Those batteries will take 5 spacewalks to go ahead and install on board and allow us to continue to fly the International Space Station into the late 2020s. Later this fall, we have a Northrop Grumman mission launching out of Wallops Island. They'll be bringing critical hardware to repair and upgrade the alpha magnetic spectrometer. That will also take 5 spacewalks to do that upgrade and repair. You put all this together, the fact that we have 4 USOS crew members on board is going to allow us to do the 10 EVAs between now and the end of the year, as well as to maintain a science program.
And specifically in regard to science, as we enter the home stretch of this year, what has the station accomplished in upping not only the amount of science performed on the station, but its applicability to future space exploration downstream?
You know, since the start of the International Space Station, we've performed almost 3,000 experiments on board. We've incorporated 4,000 investigators into the activities. We've included over 100 countries that have done science, research, or educational activities on board the International Space Station. We've published over 1,800 different articles on the science and research on board. And what we're doing today on board the International Space Station is allowing us to continue exploration, to go back to the moon, go off to Mars. All the work we're doing today on the International Space Station is globally encouraging a human space program to move forward.
Next year marks the 20th anniversary of a permanent human occupancy on the station. Your roots as a flight director and now as a program manager for the past several years, could you have ever imagined 20 years ago that a whole generation would have gone watching this thing grow in size and never knowing a time that humans were not in space?
It's incredible and an amazing accomplishment. You know, in the early days when we were developing Space Station, in the early building days, we could only dream of flying 20 years on board. And to me, you know, over the 20 years, we've built an international partnership that has been the gold standard of partnerships. Today, when companies, corporations, countries look forward to a global economy, a global moving forward and how they're going to expand, they look at Space Station as the standard, and they look at how we've taken the 5 partner agencies, we've worked together to address problems, to correct those problems and move forward. It's just been an incredible fun, incredible fun run.